Well, welcome to Revitalizing Acadiana's Core. As most of Acadiana's urban and town centers have been designated opportunity zones, we must prepare our region for the potential local and outside investment that opportunity zones will bring. Our panel today will discuss the regional collaborative partnership that has come together to prepare Acadiana for this potential investment and revitalization opportunity. They will discuss the Acadiana Opportunity Zone prospectus, our regional economic development perspective, and next steps for us as a region to work together to strategically plan, market, and attract investment, thus culminating in implementation of these revitalization projects. I'm pleased to introduce Monique Boulay, who serves as the CAO for the Acadiana Planning Commission, and Troy Wayman, who serves as the President and CEO of One Acadiana, as our panel today. Monique and Troy have spearheaded the effort to partner together to create this Acadiana Opportunity Zone prospectus that you all have been given, and we'll talk in more detail about that partnership. Thank you both, and I'll turn it over to Monique.
Hi, I'm sorry. Chad, do you have my PowerPoint? Yes. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. I think we have different documents. We're going to talk today a little bit about what we did do in Acadiana. And I was going to, Troy and I had discussed our platform, and we were going to kind of make it conversational, but he was going to take a first shot at this and talk a little bit about the region.
Sure.
So I'm going to pass it back to Troy.
Sure. And when Monique said that she and I, when it was said that we spearheaded this, I'll say by spearheading, Monique called me and said, hey, I think we've got an opportunity. And she brought it to my attention, and I thought it sounded like something that would be great for us to work on. So I would be remiss if before we get started, there's been a lot of mention of this prospectus that we put out. If I didn't give a little bit of a mention to Monique's staff and to the One Acadiana staff that really put a lot of work into this in a very, very short time to pull it together. Three of those folks are here today: Corey Jack, Danielle Morsay, and Andre Bro on the One Acadiana staff, and then also Tori Robichaud on our communications staff did a lot of work on this. And this is obviously just first steps, but we've got a lot more work to be done. One of the things that we wanted to make sure was clear is that this is kind of an umbrella. This is something that is a first step in getting the plan together. I really liked what Robert said in the previous panel when he said, capital is not a strategy. You need to have a plan. Well, we've had a lot of plans in Acadiana for a long time, and this gives us an opportunity to put to have some capital available to those plans, to make those plans come to fruition. And there's some great activity going on. I think you'll hear a little more from Danielle later that Lafayette Parish is working on some significant plans to coincide with this, to drill a little deeper into Lafayette's opportunity zones. Evangeline Parish is doing the same thing. Is Dr. Jeff Stewart here? I know he was here earlier. I think he had to go pick up a child. So what he's doing with his graduate students in Evangeline Parish with the Evangeline Foundation, the Evangeline Parish Foundation, which is relatively newly formed, isn't it? I think holds a lot of promise. So we look forward to working with them more and helping them coordinate with our prospectus to provide more detail on opportunities. And somebody else said it. It is kind of frustrating to talk about all these opportunities in these opportunity zones. You feel like you say opportunity an awful lot. But Chris Moe with Waiter, who is, by all accounts, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in our area, and I would think in the nation. He talks about how everything kind of fell in line in Louisiana for them. As far as the incentive programs, the local and state help that they received, all those things are great. The one thing he says that we could improve to help with entrepreneurship and economic development is organized capital. Well, what does this do? This Opportunity Zone program provides that access to organized capital. It seems like a natural fit when you've got someone like Chris Moe out there making comments like that, and he gives us an opportunity to put our plans together and put our plans out front and say, here are the opportunities within these opportunity zones. Please take advantage of these opportunities. It it gives us access to that capital. It was also mentioned in the last panel about what a technical program this is, and it is. I mean, as all federal programs are. But I will say, if anyone could navigate through new market tax credits, this is going to be easy. New market tax credits, while a great program, and I feel like we probably missed the boat a little bit on some of that. And so it's great that we are ahead of the game, and I applaud Monique for having the foresight to get us ahead of the game. And we're glad to partner with APC on this and get us a step ahead because that's where we need to be.
Thank you, Troy. And I'm going to say that, so I want to thank One Acadiana because we did make the call, but they absolutely stepped up. And it's not going to just be APC or One Acadiana that's going to lead this. We're going to have to really engage all of the EDOs throughout the region, and then all of the other partners, all of the key stakeholders that they mentioned earlier this morning. I really want to go back and print out that slide, that list, because in order to make this work, no one organization can carry this conversation. And we're not. We're not going to be the only ones to carry it. One Acadiana is going to have, we already did actually, at the Revitalization committee meeting. It was a packed house, and that was kind of the first little peep into this. It was tremendous. Lita has got a conversation with commercial brokers scheduled in a few weeks. These kinds of conversations need to continue so that we all kind of become level on our understanding, first and foremost, understanding what we have in front of us. And then the other consistent message that I've been hearing, which I'm glad I'm on track, right? Because these guys that we've heard from this morning really have a much greater depth than I do, I'll be honest with you, but is the project development. How do we go into our communities? And I'm going to talk briefly about the tracks we selected and why we selected them, but how do we go in there and help them take their comprehensive plans that already exist and pull out those projects? And then how do we put financial marketing packages with those projects so that we can say we have strategically thought through this main street, whether it's in Ville Platte or Breaux Bridge or downtown Lafayette, the oil center. We have these prime areas for investment, right? They're not, some of them are more needy than others, but they're all, it's exciting. I'm just going to say it's exciting. Anita Begno is here with DDA, Downtown Development. Downtown has so many opportunities. Can we identify there's 2 or 3 or maybe 4 absolute strategic projects that have community buy-in, that we go out and we get input, and these can be real game changers? And I think back to, you go back to about the year 2000, and downtown Lafayette was a business district. It was an 8 to 5 district. You went there to see your lawyer and to have lunch. It didn't have a lot of other facets around it. There were a few things that happened right about that time. Tsunami Restaurant opened, and it was sushi. It was introducing sushi to Lafayette, and it was cool. I put a call into Michelle Ezel this morning, right? Just to I was like, Michelle, take me back a little bit. But she changed the energy of downtown Lafayette. It was just that simple. There was a new nighttime energy. And now our nightlife it's awesome. I have a college student. They go downtown. The lunch crowd is awesome. We have a lot of life down there, but it was that energy change. So what are those strategic projects? What are those things in each of our opportunity zones that we can then, and that's where we can come in and provide support, bring investors to the table, market it. When we're out about, both of us travel throughout the country, talking about it, getting our thoughts and ideas out in front of people. I think that's the role we can play, is facilitating a lot of that and creating toolkits so it can be duplicated, because I don't think we're competing against each other. I really don't. I think we are leveraging each other, and that's where we have the greatest opportunity, is if we don't get siloed and we don't get possessive with opportunities. Again, I wish we had another word, but it is a good word, right? It has good meaning. So that's kind of where we are. In selecting the tracks, Chad Lacombe, over here to my right. Chad's been mentioned a few times today. Chad is really the brains in our office with this. He caught this as soon as it passed, and we were working on the university corridor with Mayor Robideau, and he said, this is perfect, and it is. In that corridor, it's a gateway to Lafayette. It was the hub of activity 30, 40 years ago. And today, 40% of the households there do not own a vehicle. They don't drive. They don't have the finances to own a vehicle. It's not a young, hip, transit community. It is a very disinvested part of Lafayette. And so that was obvious, and we jumped on that, and the mayor, he's a numbers guy. He gets it. He's God. So it was, and then we said, wait a minute. The region, we've got to look at the region. And Lafayette is, Baton Rouge and New Orleans dominate these kinds of things traditionally. So we put in a request and we sent a regional strategy with it. And we hope to get a few. We said if we get some of these, this will be great. And we got what we wanted, but then we weren't the only ones. So there were some extra ones. There were some other people thinking in Acadiana. So we can't take credit for all of it. But what we ended up getting was awesome. And it was just some forethought on the front end. So I really do want to recognize Chad and thank him. And he's also responsible for bringing all of these awesome speakers here today. So thank you, Chad. And then the team from One Acadiana is up here. If you guys would wave, please. They also have been tremendous in this. It's also been a great partnership for an EDO and a planning district, an LDD is what they call us. And that's not a traditional relationship. So this is a good opportunity for us as well.
Well, I think that's one of the advantages we have as a region is that we have had that relationship with the Planning Commission and with the Regional Economic Development Organization and with the local economic developers. Monique mentioned Lita. Lita is a strong partner and investor in One Acadiana and believes in the regional effort as well as the local effort here in Lafayette. We have spent, as an organization, we've spent 5 years building very strong relationships with local economic developers throughout the non-parish region of Acadiana and with local chambers of commerce and with local elected officials. And there's still work to be done in that vein, and we're working on it daily. But this gives us another opportunity to provide value to those communities that we serve. And we look forward to working with each one of those communities. I think many of you are represented here. And it's exciting to see some of them getting ahead of the game, like I mentioned with Evangeline Parish and the work that they're doing with Dr. Stewart and with Lafayette Parish and the work that Danielle's doing, getting ahead of the game so that we can insert insert more depth into this prospectus so that we'll have more value. Looking at some of the stuff in the last presentation that was in the other prospectuses that have been produced, it makes me a little bit jealous. We've got to get a little more depth to ours. I'm very proud of what we've done so far, but again, this was put together in very short order. Matter of fact, I was very surprised that we actually got it done to have it here today. We were a little bit under the gun, but we did get it completed for this event, but we've got more work to do. So I think that the next steps are working with the various parishes and communities within the region to help them take a deeper dive into their opportunity zones, and then gives us. You can't always make the comment about anything that we work on, whether it's certified sites or the opportunity zones. If you don't have cars on your lot, you can't sell one. This gives us more cars on our lot. So we're all about going, putting our nose to the grindstone and getting some of this done and finding investment to bring into the region. Monique mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier. The number of plans that we've had on the oil center for downtown for various communities, and it's like, oh, this is great. All we need is some money. And this actually gives us an opportunity to. Now, it's not the panacea. This is not the sole solution, the Opportunity Zones program, but it is a significant arrow in our quiver to use. So, something else that Monique mentioned, I want to talk about in just a second, is the competition. I don't see it, and we look at it the same in economic development terms when we're dealing with business development projects. We're fortunate in our region that, the investment that would be looking at Ville Platte, for example, is very different probably than the investment that would be looking in downtown Lafayette. Or it would be somebody that could do investment in both. So the more people we can bring to the table, the more opportunity is going to be for everyone across the board.
Yes, and I'll say this. This was done very quickly. I don't remember exactly when we started. It might have been October or November, and with the holidays right in the middle of that. And we were very well aware that we would not get everything in this prospectus. But the intent is this would be the start, and a website would be next, so that we can backfill more data, we can backfill projects, and we can build those projects, those individual project prospectuses as well on the website. We have set up an InvestAcadiana.com, and it will be a joint website where we can really build this out and add and grow. And do we do another printing at some point? We do have several next steps that I want to lay out, but first of all, I do want to talk about the prospectus a little bit, because our intentions were to create a data hub, right, to start collecting this, to have that. And that's what this does, and that's what a website will do. We want to host the projects that we do develop out, and then we want to prepare our communities for local investment. We do think the first hit in Acadiana will be local investors, people who already have some attachment, some intentions for redevelopment. But we want to prepare our communities all the way from Lafayette to Ville Platte. We keep using Ville Platte as an example, but it's two very, very different communities, to receive national viewings, for national funds to come and look and see. We have a variety. This prospectus puts together a topography, so you can look at rural areas, you can look at urban areas, you can look at areas with universities, you can look at areas with hospitals. If you have particular leanings, we are trying to position the region to be able to pull those out for particular funds. That's one of the things this does very well. And then it also gives us a chance to start aligning our stakeholders. And that's going to be the critical next step, is really getting our stakeholders in the conversation and understanding what their needs are, what their questions are, what kind of projects. What's happening in Ville Platte, I went to one of the meetings. They're already having meetings, community meetings, and they get 50 to 75 people show up, and the excitement is in the air. The foundation is there. There's real viable conversations going on. But that community is talking about their main street, which needs to be cleaned up, which needs some TLC. And they're talking about how to activate it. What kind of investments would bring people there in the morning, at lunchtime, and in the evening, to make it safer, to make it more attractive. That's exciting to me. We have those conversations all the time. We talk about brownfields all the time. Chad has got a tremendous relationship with EPA, who will be presenting later today. But until you get the private sector dollar involved in flipping those commercial pieces of land, it just doesn't work the way it needs to. So that's what's so exciting about this, is we can mix all of those efforts. We can layer and stack and twin. There's a lot of terms coming up. Different incentives to support these investments, and get that private, because what it does, what tsunamis did in downtown Lafayette was create energy. And that's what we want. You get one great project in downtown Breaux Bridge. Well, downtown Breaux Bridge already has some great projects, but a new dynamic, and the mayor is here, that's why I'm referencing. You can create a new energy, and it doesn't have to be opportunity zone investment that's really going to do all of the flipping or revitalization, but it's going to, it can stir that. It can start that process, and where there's good energy, you get more good projects.
And Monique mentioned local investors, and I've got about $22 in capital gains. I've been trying to find a place to park.
Put it with my 43.
we
ahead.
opening for questions, or?
We can, yes.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry. And I will not deny that there's a good chance I will throw this question to Danielle or Andre or Corey. Just be aware that I may.
It's not a hard question. My question, you mentioned, was it 46% of the residents in this area don't have transportation? So are you all doing any type of local engagement to find out what those residents are wanting, or services? Because again, it could be services
Right.
as well, because when you start talking about revitalizing an area, you
Yeah.
could be also talking about services. And that's a lot of time why people move from areas. There's not the services there as well. So is there a community
So this
engagement?
particular corridor that I was referencing is the University Corridor. And we just finished, it was about a $500,000 transportation corridor study on that area. There are significant safety issues. If you look from Google, you can see the walking paths because there's no sidewalks. It's truly disinvested in every sense of what this program is trying to talk to. So we've been working on that for a few years with the city of Lafayette. EPA has given us a grant for $300,000 to do intensive brownfield cataloging, and then also to do some remediation. So EPA is involved in this. There's a cultural district that we're putting an application in. We have several layers, and so, I mean, this is a presentation we gave last year at DOTD because it started with transportation funds. We also do transportation planning in our office, and so when the Opportunity Zone came up, yeah, there's a lot that needs to be done in this area, right? And that's the beauty of it. We're going to have some local investment in the transportation facilities. We're going to we have a firm out of New Orleans who is looking at an old historic building already. Actually, they're in negotiations right now and looking to tear down the horrible motel that has poisoned, I would say, that whole corridor. That will come down very soon. And so it's layering, right? It's creating all this. That corridor needs a lot. That corridor, and its opportunity zones are not going to turn it around alone, but we already have a lot of that in progress. And that's what's so exciting is we're going to be doing all this work. We're going to rebuild that road. We're going to do some beautification. We're going to make some safety adjustments. And then we're going to be able to pull private sector dollars in to really finish it, And I do want to mention the cities that we did have designated. Lafayette has 7 key core census tracts: Ville Platte, Opelousas, Eunice, Church Point, New Iberia, Abbeville, Brobridge. Did I get them all, Chad? Jennings, and then St. Mary Parish has 3. Right, Berwick, Morgan City, and Baldwin. Those are our towns, and it's really the core of those towns. It's the main streets, it's the downtowns. It's our opportunity to really go back, and that's the core of our culture. For those of you that are not from here and that hear about our culture, it comes out of those towns. And that's why we're so passionate about it. Because if we can go back and bring life back there, it really does help us preserve that culture for years to come. And that's not the only reason. It really does help the people too. There are a lot of reasons.
Yes, good morning. Hi, my name is Crystal Jones Taylor, and I'm with Housing and Urban Development. I represent HUD New Orleans field office. And I just want to just give you guys our excitement of congratulatory. In 2017, of October of 2017, I was invited on behalf of HUD New Orleans field office to give a presentation on behalf of HUD by Dr. Nelson to talk about the Opportunity Zone with a group of about maybe 60 stakeholders. They had some local banks, some community individuals, and to also do a half-day capacity building training, which turned out to be a 2-day grant writing capacity building training last year in November. And so I really am excited to where you guys have come to really embrace today and to have our other federal partners, the bank. And I called Scarlett in October of 2017. I said, Scarlett, Lafayette. And here we are today. And one of the things that anybody who knows me, I mean, I'm joined to the hips by anything that's moving the train and moving it and help moving it. And the FDIC, Federal Reserve Bank, and the Department of Treasury, and our partners, EPA, Karen. I mean, we're all over the place, journey to the hip. So kudos to you, Dr. Nelson, for that first invite. You was the first community development office in the state that invited us to have that conversation. So you guys are just really rocking it. So you guys, thank you so much for today. I'm excited about it. I think you guys are doing a yeoman's job. And whatever we can do, tomorrow, HUD headquarters is convening a national conversation on the Opportunity Zone. We mandated to work with you guys to really push the needle further. So whatever we can do on behalf of HUD to help and assist, we'll be there. And Cheryl Bro, Community Development Director, on her behalf. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words.
Thank
I will say President Trump issued an executive order in December to all of the federal agencies to, he set up a council and to look to ways to target their grant programs, their support systems into opportunity zones. So I thought that was, we work a lot with the federal granting agencies, with EDA and EPA, and so it will give us also another leg up when we do those grant applications, or when you do your grant applications, to mark this is an opportunity zone. They will have extra incentive to fund those projects. I asked Chad to pull up the LED map. I'm gonna walk over here.
I'll let you drive.
Yeah. Louisiana Economic Development does have a map for opportunity zones, and you can really, this is our little region, right? You barely see our zones, but I'm telling you, we have powerhouse zones. Because the towns are awesome towns that we're in. They're here, but you can go all the way in. See, here's Opelousas, and you know, if you want to go all the way deep. We did put copies of the maps with the prospectuses because I want people to have that reference point, that visual, to be able to go to if you're thinking about something. I want you to be able to immediately know what's in it, what's not in it. We have a lot of companies that don't realize they're in it. We have the university in it, the hospital. Lots of opportunities. So this is the LED map. And if you go to Louisiana Economic Development Opportunity Zone map, it pops right up. Any more questions?
Okay. This one.
Do you plan to have any follow-up events on this or training or in other areas of the state?
So I guess our jurisdictions are here in Acadiana. We do, if you fund us to go, we'll go. No, no, this is one of the reasons we have it broadcast live, because this is good information that everybody needs. It also will be accessible in the future. AOC is going to take the commercial breaks out, so you don't have to live through all of it, and have it. We'll have it on our Facebook page. Our website is planacadiana.com. The prospectus is on there electronically. One Acadiana is putting the prospectus on their website as well. I think, you know, when we do things here, we do them in a way that other areas can leverage them, because I don't think we're even competing, you know, in a big way against other regions in the state. So we want to do it in a way that can be leveraged. I think if we build all, you know, throughout Louisiana, I think it benefits us all. So we're here. We'll share whatever we have. Let me put it that way.
And there's probably, I mean, we don't have anything planned right now, but it wouldn't surprise me that if, as we go through this and as we get more depth in the prospectus and get more information from various communities within the region, that we'll have different events focused on different areas. Nothing probably as large as this event, but more specialized and more specific events. But I can't guarantee it. We don't have anything on the books right now.
Nothing on the books. I will say, though, I do have an idea And I would hope maybe
I
by
love it
the-
when she has an idea.
by sometimes it's scary. By this summer, maybe we could have some project pitch events where we start presenting projects with an online feed so that people can see them here and they can see them around the country. So, I'm going to say to our mayors that are here, to our economic developers, let's really start working fast to identify these projects. You don't have to have construction plans. What we need is concepts. We need business plans. The Small Business Development Center is here. They're going to present later. That's where we need some support from the different agencies is helping to facilitate those things. But the more we can do and the more we can have ready, and I think this summer is a fair target. It may be sooner, but for a couple of the projects. But across the region, I'd like to see some projects, that we can really start pushing. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any?
Can you share a little bit about?
Yes, and I was going to toss it back to Danielle because Danielle is the planning director for Lafayette, and we're thrilled to have Danielle in that role. She brings a lot of experience from the federal level, and so I was going to let her talk a little bit about Lafayette's intention. Go ahead.
As Monique and Troy said, this will probably be a little bit repetitive, but it's also good to know that we're heading in the right direction with everything that we've heard this morning. So there's a little bit of confidence there, at the same time a little bit of like, oh my, we've got a bit of work to do to get to that next step. And that's what we're doing here in Lafayette Parish. We've got 7 census tracts in Lafayette Parish, so we are looking to build within that umbrella of the Acadiana Regional Prospectus and create a Lafayette Prospectus. That's going to take a deeper dive into what the prospectus is doing. What we're doing is we're going to be analyzing the existing state of each of the census tracts. We're going to be looking at the key characteristics of the opportunity zones, looking at existing cultural, educational, recreational facilities, existing businesses and neighborhoods, schools and community centers, current zoning, land use, developments that are underway, existing infrastructure, and planned infrastructure investment. By analyzing the existing resources and attributes of each census tract, we'll be able to identify growth opportunities, common themes, and linkages amongst our different census tracts. The next piece of this are identifying opportunities, and this is where we will bring in more stakeholder conversations within the community. We're analyzing and evaluating potential revitalization opportunities, key catalyst projects, and again, with the goal to identify what types of projects that we want to attract and cultivate within the various census tracts. The next is incentives, and we've heard a bit about this, and we'll hear more about this afternoon, but we're also identifying within each of our census tracts how to layer the opportunity zone incentive. So again, looking at potential economic development districts, certified sites, brownfield sites, cultural districts, national historic districts, a Community Investment Act, local revolving loan funds, facade improvement grants, gap financing, and a host of other things. We're actively working on adding cultural districts right now within some of our opportunity zones. We're also looking at adding a new historic district, a national historic district as well. So again, open up more areas to those incentives. And so this will help us to identify the full complement of potential incentives that are going to be available to developers. The next piece of this is the what's available. So we're doing a deep dive into what I call painting our opportunity zone canvas. We're looking at what the available property mix is in each tract, where are the opportunities, what vacant parcels that we have of varying sizes, what commercial buildings and structures are currently vacant and available, what historic structures we have, and what brownfield sites that we have. Again, to allow us to have a better holistic picture of what's available within each tract. So our end game, we're working with LEDA, we're working with Downtown Development Authority, we're working with One Acadiana and with the APC to continue this partnership, and again, at this more localized level for Lafayette Parish, that we can layer together the existing state opportunities, incentives, potential opportunities and catalyst projects, and the available property mix among the census tracts. This will allow us to identify catalyst projects to spur revitalization within the parish and utilize this effort to promote investment within the parish. We're incredibly excited about this and look forward to working with key stakeholders and our partner agencies in the community to further develop the opportunity zone prospectus for Lafayette.
So that times, how many areas do we have? 12? We need to do that in each of our areas, but that's where we're going, right? It's awesome. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about Lafayette jumping out. But it's a lot of work. We really do have a lot of work ahead of us, and we want to see it duplicated across the region. So,
Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Monique and Troy.
Thank you.